Hey friends, fellow MMO players, it's Maze, and I've heard a lot about how 2022 hasn't been great for MMO players. I've heard from Bytes out there talking about how bad it's been, but I just don't see it. This year's been a lot of fun and has given us a variety of games to jump in between. If you haven't done the first playthrough through games like Star Wars Galaxies or Lord of the Rings Online, go ahead and check them out. Both are old, yes, but both are fun. They both have a lot of lore, things to see if you enjoy that franchise. They both have good crafting stories, and the leveling's pretty fun. We had V Rising, Endwalker, Wrath of the Lich King Classics coming out soon. We have the end of the Burning Crusade Classic. We've had updates and glimpses at Ashes of Creation, Blue Protocol, Throne and Liberty, which I thought was gone after Lineage Eternal just seemed to vanish. Instead, they've revamped it again for, what is this, maybe the third time? And they're going to go ahead and try something new. And let's not forget Diablo Immortal and maybe the best of the year so far, Lost Ark. At times, I know that people can fall prey to their pay-to-win mechanics, but let's be honest, nobody's going to remember the guy who had the best gear in a game like that. And then when you're done with it, move back to a more traditional MMO. Just have fun, go through the story and campaign, and enjoy. So let's take a look at a few things that are going on around the MMO community. New World released the content that they had to delay from the Medley Fair update due to things not being ready yet. Barnacles and Black Powder takes players on a new expedition, contain lore centered around the Cutlass Keys, events of strange creatures, and a curse that is occurring in the nearby waters. Players were waiting for this expedition as well as the new group finder. Up to date, the group finder does not have a time of release. They're still working out some of the bugs. And the devs talked a lot about how the new expedition is going to introduce some new game mechanics. There's also going to be loot and 2 new bosses. Some of the game mechanics that you're going to see is picking up cannons and loading them into, or picking up cannonballs and loading them up into the cannons and using those to defeat Captain Black Powder while dodging his powder kegs that he's throwing around at the entire raid. Later in it, you'll have the whirlwind attacks as well from the Nereid that you're going to have to dodge. New expedition-wide loot includes the teardrop, damp droplet for the jewelries. We have the Lost Souls gloves, shoes of the scene, waterlogged shirt, and a quaint helm for armors. Expedition-wide loot drops are going to be weapons, arrow spine, driftwood, maul of fathoms, soul spine, grasp, brinnacle, and the iridescent. And of course, both bosses will have their own drops as well. You can acquire the hook, Priscilla's shield, the Admiral's claw, peg, pantaloons, tricorn cap, Admiral's petticoat, Siren's gloves, boots, thigh guards, headwear, and the Siren's chest wrap. And I'm glad they delayed this and just admitted that it wasn't done before finally releasing it out to the public. Even with a somewhat rocky start, New World seems to be heading in the right direction. And moving right on, this week, the Western launch of Tower of Fantasy arrived on the 10th. Pre-download was available ahead of time, and it's available for both mobile and PC. PC game launcher is located on their official site, and the Steam and Epic versions will be released at a later date. And say what you will, I've never gotten too wrapped up into the gacha style of games. I played this several months ago, and I admit that the combat and exploration is really fun. Just don't be silly. Play the game, again, have fun, explore, get into something new, and don't worry about being famous in a game that no one, let's be honest, may not remember in a few years. The combat, like I said, is extremely fun, and if you enjoy open world anime MMOs, then go ahead and give it a shot. And as I was saying, the combat, it features the idea of equipping up to 3 weapons and swapping between them freely during combat, attacking and building the meter, and then swapping out to go ahead and form your special attack. Combat also features the perfect dodge system. That puts you inside a purple-like bubble or dome, slowing down time, charging up your combat meter, and allowing you to attack the enemy. Then you have your weapon upgrades, character collection, and the star system of upgrading that we're familiar with most of these styled gacha games. I don't suggest to get too wrapped up. Don't push for the best thing in the game, but the gameplay's fun, the world's cool, and being an MMO, it should give us a lot of things to do. Jump in, have a little bit of fun, and let's jump over to Blizzard. Blizzard's back again in the news, this time canceling a mobile World of Warcraft MMO that had been in development with NetEase for 3 years. According to reports, the issue came after a financial dispute. This following the delay of the Chinese release of Diablo Immortal. So, a strange turn of events continuing with Blizzard and their Chinese market. And all we really know, and will probably ever know, is that this was meant to be a spin-off taking place in an alternate timeline from World of Warcraft and was slated to release on mobile. But Blizzard, good news. Dragonflight Alpha seems to be getting decent reviews. As always, the hype around the next expansion is highly anticipated. Whether an expansion ends up good or bad, we know that first day, that launch, and those first weeks that follow are always going to be a memorable time. And the one thing that may have even more people buzzing, more than retail, is the launch of World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King Classic, which is set to launch on September 26th. And I was there when the game first originally launched and up until the very tail end of this expansion. So some of the best times that I had in World of Warcraft. I started playing about 5 months before the release of the Burning Crusade, and a lot of my best times really are the Burning Crusade, that last half of Burning Crusade, and the first 75-80% of Wrath of the Lich King. So hopefully everybody jumps in and has a little bit of fun with this. And then something new. Well, it's kind of new. I talked about it a little bit earlier. It's remade, originally meant to be the sequel to Lineage 2. And first set to release as Lineage Eternal, we have Throne and Liberty. Back in April, it was announced to be heading to both PlayStation 5 and PC, and that it would be a Q4 release this year. Since then, things have been relatively quiet up until the 9th, when leaked information revealed that NCSoft and Amazon may be in discussion for a global distribution to publish the game, meaning it is very likely the companies are looking to collaborate as publishers for the game's NA and European launch. With both Gamescom and the Tokyo Game Show coming up, it's expected more on this will be announced soon. And if you're not familiar with Throne and Liberty, it is an action combat open world MMO where weather will affect enemies, abilities, and the terrain. Castle sieges and mass open world PvP. Originally slated to be the successor to Lineage 2, the game was scrapped, then reworked into a Lost Ark-like ARPG called Project TL, and then went quiet for a period of time, and then was re-revealed as a 3D open world action combat MMO. We do know that it will heavily feature challenging co-op PvE. It will also have a PK system and something called evil deeds, meaning that you can get away with PKing people at night. Players will have some effect on and may be able to change the time of day as well as the weather, allowing some instances or castle sieges to be easier or making others inaccessible. This is one worth keeping an eye on. And just to update everybody on some information that came out 2 days ago, NCSoft has said that they are searching for a publisher, but they also will be pushing the launch of the game back to 2023. So further updates, we'll let you know. And let's wrap it up with 2 lovely events for Final Fantasy XIV. Last Tuesday, the Moonfire Fair opened up. To start this, just head to Mayuru Moru, who's located in Limsa near the Af Castle. Then pick up his short quest, head out to Costa del Sol, and acquire your Summer Bonfire and your Summer Sunset. Also, the Moogle Treasure Trove is still going and will continue to be going until patch 6.2, which as of this moment is scheduled to launch on August 23rd. Find the Moogle located in each capital city for a list of items and rewards in the hunt. To find the duties associated with the event, just open up your duty finder and locate the Moogle icon on the right hand side, indicating the number of irregular tombstones of Verity awarded for completion. Rewards are located at the vendor and range from sets of gear to mounts, minions, jewelry, triad cards, and other assorted items. And a quick side note before wrapping things up, since MMO players love to know game status and numbers, Square Enix reported on its QT earnings of around 396 million USD. The company stated that the strength of their MMO subscription-based games played a huge part in the overall success in the company as a whole during this past quarter. Right around 104 million USD in revenue came from the company's 3 online subscription-based games, which are Final Fantasy XI, Dragon Quest X, and then Final Fantasy XIV. Final Fantasy XIV being by far the top contributor of the 3. So we're going to wrap it up, and like I said, 2022 has not been a bad year at all for MMOs. We have exciting things coming up and a bunch of old games to jump back into. Like I said, if you haven't played Lord of the Rings Online or Star Wars Galaxies and you haven't went through that first leveling process, go ahead and do it. It's a good fun time. Easily take up maybe a month, maybe 2, depending on how much you play and want to jump into your MMOs. So until next time, everybody stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which is going to be Fallout 4. Then we got some more Skyrim and a little bit more Fallout 4. I got a bunch of Fallout 4 stuff, so hope you guys enjoy. Thank you much, and I'll talk to you later.